Oh, see, somebody had a hand in it. On my leg. And in his chair, say that my leg been like that, since I was like 12 years old, and it's crazy. They said I was the youngest of what they called a family, in Alabama, you know. Uh, I had to leave that house because it was grown people having sex with middle school children. And children, it was my age, In 1996, I went to Green Acres Middle School, in the sixth grade. And in 1996, they said that a lady named Yolanda Johnson, she said she was the mom of Aldwin Johnson and Antoine Johnson. And then both of them boys was child abusers and child molesters. And they was grown and they was having sex with middle school children. I was like, ugh, why would they be doing it? They be grown, Look, I have a marriage license, And it says 30th, it says April, it says 2004, you see. It says 9 April. And it says my name. And then it says Johnson. And then it said Williams. I know they was doing this stuff in both of them houses, Because, they like, in the year of 1996, they say a child was born, in the same state, in the state of Alabama. They said it was supposed to be a birth certificate that says it was on Valentine's Day, February 14th of, I think, 1996. It said a child was born named Keymaya Williams, Keymaya. I think her middle name was Tyree, Tyree Williams. They said she was the daughter of a child molester and a sex offender and a child abuser named Aldwin Johnson, Audwin Johnson. And they said, that's your brother. They should be like, that's not my brother. Because when they go, do whatever stuff that they do to him for being a child molester and sex offender and child abuser, I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that he had. Because they said that dude was 18 years old when Keymaya was born. And that Kemaya's mom name was Tawana Renee Williams, a middle school girl. I don't know how her name's spelled. It might have been spelled TawannA. Renee. I don't know how it was spelled. It might have been spelled Renee Williams. And they said she might have been part of this same family of these Williams people, that she might have been like a cousin or some kind of, I don't know, some kind of relative or, some kind of relative or some kind of cousin or something like that. They be saying cousins a lot, so I don't really know. what that stuff mean. You know, I don't really use them words because they were like, sometimes people be in gangs and be saying stuff like that. You know, I'm not in no gang or anything like that. So, you know, like you have to tell people that stuff so, you know, they'll know anything they got nothing to do with me. So, you know, we did and stuff like that. They were like, yeah. So they were like, so that's why you moved out of the house, because they was being child molesters and stuff like that. That's what they was doing. They were like, you know, they were doing crazy because in 1996, I was in middle school. I went to Green Acres Middle School, you know. And, you know, in 1996, they said Tawana Williams went to middle school. She went to Bush Middle School. And both of them schools was in the city of Birmingham, Alabama. And they said Tawana Williams is a middle school student in the year of 1996, and she went to Bush Middle School. And they said me, I was a middle school student, and I went to Green Acres Middle School in the year of 1996. So I was like, wait a minute. If I was going to middle school in the 6th grade in 1996, and if that dude that they said was Aldrin and Antoine both had sex with a middle school student, if Aldrin was over the age of 18 when Kimaya Williams was born and I was in middle school, and then he the same kind of abusive person that Antoine was, because that Antoine dude had molested me when I was in elementary school. And then when Kimaya was born, that dude Aldrin was over the age of 18, you know. He was at least 18 or older when she was born, you know, in 1996. And that dude, Antoine, they said he had sex with the same girl, Tawana Renee Williams. And, you know, he was way older than me. They said that dude, Antoine, was like at least 10 years older than me. At least 10 years older than me. So that means that, like, you know, when I was in elementary school, it's like, if I was like in the 3rd grade or the 4th grade, you know, if I was like 8 or 9 years old, that dude was like 18 or 19 years old having sex with a child, a boy, me, a child. And they said it wasn't having sex. They said it's sex abuse. They're like, why would a person that, you know, grown, 18 or older, be physically actually trying to have full-blown sex with a child? You know, sticking their thing in them, you know, all the way down to, like a child. I never did any of it. And be like, and that lady Yolanda said, that's your brother. That's your brother. But she knows that they had sex with a child, full-blown sex with a child. Because when Kimaya was born, the girl was a middle school student, the girl that was her mom, Tawana Renee Williams. So she knows that a person that she said was her son had sex with a child. Not only did he have sex with a child, he got a child pregnant and the child had a baby. He got a child pregnant and a child had a baby, but he was at least 18 years old enough to get married. So they were like, why would they have abused me? If she said she had 4 boys and I'm supposed to be the youngest one, why Yolanda never showed up saying, oh, Brandon, my baby, why you in this wheelchair? Who hurt you? Like, why they tried to lock you up? Who been abusing you? Like, they was like, this is evidence that they know that lady is not your mom and she been abusing you. If you done made all these YouTube videos and you'd have been telling them that you done been hurt and that people done been mean to you and people done did bad stuff to you and you'd have been showing your scars and your body and stuff, it's not any evidence at all of or Yolanda Johnson or a Willie Johnson or any of them people that she said was her children. They don't have any evidence of showing any love at all to me. And they don't deserve to be called a family. You know, stuff like that. That's what they said, because they was like, if I was your child and I made these videos and I didn't show my body in these wheelchairs, my leg and all this stuff, and none of this stuff, I didn't do any of this stuff to myself. Nope, I never did. And then they was like, the dude that she was having sex with had busted my head. And they was like, the Aldrin Johnson dude was always a child abuser. Because when I was in the projects, when I was at 2703 Dartmouth Avenue, when I used to live in the city of Bessemer, Alabama, he had tripped me up when I was a little boy, you know, and, you know, because I was the youngest of the family. And then I had busted my head and had to get stitches. It was that dude that they call Wee Wee, Aldrin Wee Johnson. That's what they called him, Wee Wee. Aldrin or Pee Wee and stuff like that. And you know, that lady that said her name was Yolanda, and them people that said that they friends and family with her, they was calling him cute and sexy and fine, and they was bragging on him. But he looks like the type of dude that had sex with a child. That's what he looked like. He looked like the type of dude that abused me, the youngest of what they call a family. A child abuser is what he looks like. Why would you be calling a child abuser cute, fine, and sexy if you know what he did? And why would anyone claim that they was ever married or wanted to ever have sex with him? And that's what I never understood about the Tawana Williams situation. When I was in high school, she would act like she was best friends with the lady Yolanda. A person that was saying her name was Renee. A person was saying her name was Tawana Williams. She would be like, Brandon been smoking cigarettes. Brandon left school. Brandon was hanging out with some people. I got abused because of what Tawana Williams did. But the problem is, why Tawana Williams then said, Brandon, Tawana Williams was supposed to say this. That dude that said that he was Aldrin Johnson had sex with a child of Brandon. That's how she get pregnant with Kimaya. Don't hang out with Aldrin or Antoine. You know, they call Aldrin Wee Wee and they call Antoine Boo. Don't hang out with Wee Wee and Boo or Aldrin and Antoine. Don't be friends or family with them because they child molesters and sex offenders. When a person that's grown have full-blown sex with a child, because in order for her to have had a baby, that means they had full-blown sex because she got pregnant and a child was born. They was like, yeah, Tawana Renee Williams, you know, she might have been a child when she got in a situation with them, but just because somebody had sex with her and got her pregnant, she wasn't supposed to be abusing me because of the choices she made. I didn't want to get in trouble for the sex that Tawana Renee Williams had. Whatever she did with Aldrin or Antoine, she wasn't supposed to be trying to get me in trouble. And then she would be at Angela High School saying, and this and that. And they were like, she abused me. Tawana Renee Williams abused me because what did she do? She didn't tell me. She didn't say, Brandon, you the baby of what they call a family. Because, you know, Tawana Renee Williams is older than me. And when they say respect your elders, how can you respect them if they didn't give you anything to respect? You know, and by anything to respect, if they didn't give you any type of, you know, telling you the truth about stuff. And what that means is, if she knows she had sex with Antoine and she knows she had sex with Aldrin, what is she saying? She's sexually attracted to people that abused me because Aldrin Johnson abused me. He had broke my arm and stuff like that when I was in elementary school, and I was going to Central Park Elementary School. And then, you know, he had busted my head and I had to get stitches when I was a child, when I was in elementary school. He always has been a child abuser. I don't even know where he come from because since they said I was the youngest in the family, I can't really bear witness of how he was born or where they was at. For all I know, I could have been adopted and that house could have been a foster care family. I really don't have any evidence of them being my mom or dad or family at all. You know, just because people said that stuff, because they sure didn't treat me like family, you know. And this was crazy about it. It's like, why would I give them credit for something that they did not do? Why would I give them credit for being someone who they are not? And, you know, they was like, they was like, you know, the girl that said her name was Tawana Renee Williams, they like, just because she got molested or whatever and stuff, like, she wasn't supposed to get me in trouble because she was supposed to be like, hey, Brandon, wait a minute. That dude Antoine molested you too, or Brandon? Oh, so that's why you was smoking them cigarettes and doing stuff like that. Oh, you felt bad and stuff, and you didn't want to do drugs and stuff like that because you didn't want to be on drugs, so you know you was just smoking cigarettes and stuff. Oh, you didn't want to be at school around the other children because, well, yeah, they was talking about going to prom and having sex, and they were saying that you know them stories about a girl that had sex with the whole football team, you know, stuff like that they'll say in high school. So that's why I ain't never really want to be on the football team or the basketball team or be sports and stuff like that. Because they was like, you know, when the people be on the football team and basketball team, they be saying that sometimes it be a girl, you know, them stories that had sex with the whole football team or the whole basketball team. And, you know, I'd be like, well, if I'm never on the football team or never on the basketball team, then they'll know I'm not one of those people when they had sex with the whole football team or when they had sex with the whole basketball team. Because if if I was never on the football team or basketball team or any of them teams, when they see that all of them dudes took turns having sex with the same girl and calling her nasty names, then, you know, they'll know I wasn't part of it because I was never on the football team or the basketball team or any kind of sports team, because I wouldn't want to get in trouble for the sex that they had, and I wouldn't want to get in trouble for the sex that they say that they had, because some of them girls said that they didn't really do all of it, that they be just laying on them. I wouldn't even really know. But, you know, I have a marriage license, you know, and you see, it says 2004. So, you know, like, that stuff, you know, like, and then it was somebody, because, you know, people be acting like they didn't really see it or acting like it didn't really happen. So, you know, I got to show it again, man, because, you know, it's real. It's like, see, look at my leg. Look what they did to it. It's still there. It's big, you see? Look at my hand. It'd be like, yeah, it looked like somebody stuck their whole hand in there. And they was like, man, what kind of science experiment they did to you? I was like, yeah, ain't that abuse? They was like, if they said your leg was broke, like, nah, what happened to you just getting a cast and stuff like that? People was like, I ain't never heard of that's what they do if your leg was broke. They were like, no, they did something wrong to you. Because they were like, that's not what happened when your leg get broke. And, you know, people be like, everybody goes through it. I'm like, oh, so everybody got a scar like that? What you mean everybody go through it? They be like, somebody been telling me a bunch of lies. Because what you mean, we all go through it. Oh, everybody goes through it. They were like, people been telling me a bunch of lies. Because they be like, well, if everybody goes through it, where's everybody's scar that look the same way? Big enough to stick your whole hand in. You know, something that it's not my fault because I didn't ask for it. You know, and it's crazy, you know. They said when I was born, you know, they said that I was one of those babies that was born from a cesarean section. So they was like, I never actually ever went through the womb or was ever in the vagina of a person that they said was a birth mom to me, because if they cut her stomach open and took the baby out from a cesarean section, it ain't my fault that she chose having sex and getting pregnant. It was like, I don't owe her anything because she had a child for the wrong reason. They said, think about it. If she not here saying she your mom and none of that stuff, I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that she had and whoever she had sex with. Because they was like, nobody ever came to any of your court dates. When I was there, they said, on August 9th, 2015, you know, somebody said that he did something to his wife. He did something to his wife. His wife. And it was like, you know what? That's a good question. Where is your wife? Because if a person want to accuse you of doing something to your wife, what does your wife have to actually say about any of these? Because your wife never said anything about any of these. And it was like, what happened on August 9th, 2015? I was at a hotel called Making Inn at 1044 Riverside Drive. And they was like, why was you at that hotel? Because like I just told you before, they said that a dude named Antoine V. Johnson and Aldwin Johnson was grown people that had sex with middle school children. Look at this marriage license. That lady that said her name was Yolanda, she kept trying to make me be friends and family with them. She kept talking about, you know, forgiving people, you know, and they was like, oh, so this name on the marriage license, you know, it's kind of old because, you know, it's been like 19 or 20 years since 2004 being married, you know. I'm not really that good at numbers and stuff, but they was like, see this name? She was like, she didn't want him to look like a bad person. I'm like, she didn't care about me being molested. She didn't care about me being sexually abused. She, you know, they say that she had sex with her own child is what she seemed to act like, because she was only worried about how Antoine V. Johnson's reputation would look. I'm like, he got the reputation of having sex with a child. And they said when having sex, they say it's sex abuse because I didn't want him doing this stuff to me. Like, why would a person that's 18 years of age, old enough to get married, why would they actually have what they call full-blown sex with a child? With a child. I mean, I'm the youngest child. Or what they say was a child. A child. The youngest one. I never did nothing like that. And they was like, yeah, that lady that said her name Yolanda Johnson, they said she the mom, and that dude that said his name Willie Johnson, they would have some explaining to do. Because why would they ever have tried to tell lies? And they were like, it's kind of hard to do that, because they was like, didn't you say it was a family court case too? Yeah, because on October 6, 2006, yeah, a person said they was the mom of a child born August 31st, 2004. And she used the same name, April, and she said she was my wife. Got a marriage license, right? And she used the same name, April, and said she was my wife when the child was born August 31st, 2004. Yup, she did that. And she used the same name, April, and said she was my wife when the child was born July 18th, 2006. Yup, she did that. And she used the same name, April, and said that she was my wife when the child was born October 6, 2008. And they said it's evidence of all of this in the family court of Jefferson County in Birmingham, Alabama. Because when they opened the case and said it needed supervision, what I didn't know then, that it seems like now, is that Williams family was already under investigation for child molestation and grown men that was having sex with children. They said that, a lot of this stuff, they didn't tell me about it because they didn't know if I was just like the rest of them. Now they see that I'm not like them at all. My birth certificate said March 4th, 1984, and they said I never had sex with anyone unless it was the person saying that their name was April. And they was like, so according to your marriage license, you only ever had sex ever in life with a person that said she was your wife. And if any of them people that were saying their name was April and using this marriage license and doing it, that means they broke the law if they wasn't your wife and if they played some kind of sex game. And whether anybody care about it or not, it's not my fault if they sexually abused me and if they did something to me that they weren't supposed to do, because I never asked them to do any of that stuff, and it's wrong what they did if that's the stuff that they did, And so they was like, so it's evidence of it, because they was like, a birth certificate means that a child was born, August 31st, 2004. And the girl used the same name and said that she was April, with the same birthday of April 30th, 1986. A child was born July 18th, 2006. And a person used the same name saying that their name was April and saying that, the same birthday of April 30th, 1986. They was claiming to be the same person, my wife being married to me, with a marriage license of April 2004, and then they said a child was born October 6, 2008, and the person was claiming to be the same person, using the same name, April, the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986, claiming to be the same person of April of 2004, because they was like, when a person sees their name, they was like April, and you see with the R and Williams, and see the date of 2004. They was like, so whenever she used that name and said that her name is April and said that she your wife and stuff like that, she automatically claimed that she was the mom from August 31st, 2004, the mom from July 18th, 2006, and the mom from October 6th, 2008. Because those are the dates of birth certificates according to the family court when they said children were born. They said a child was born August 31st, 2004, a child was born July 18th, 2006, and a child was born October 6th, 2008, and a person said that their name, they used this identity. They said their name was April. They said they was a wife, according to this marriage license, and they said they was the wife of me and stuff like that. And it'll be like, okay, so where is her evidence of being a wife? Where is her evidence of being a wife? That's what they been saying. Because they was like, when you look at all the information and stuff like that or whatever, it was like, well, they said I'm her evidence because, me being a husband and saying that I'm married, and stuff like that. They be like, okay, so he has a marriage license and saying that he married. So they're like, where the girl at? How you gonna say you married? You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And it was like, well, a girl's, You know, that same stuff. They was like, okay, so you was in the city of Macon, Georgia since about 2014. You been here like about 10 years or something similar, about somewhere around about 10 years since 2014. You know, stuff like that. And I'm 39 years old. So I'm like, I'm old. I'm almost 40 years old. A teenage girl wouldn't want me. I mean, look at how old I look. I got all these scars and stuff on my head, stuff like that. I'm like, you know, like, I'm old, you know. I'm too old to be having children and stuff like that. You know, like, you ain't supposed to laugh about your age. You know, that's what they say. Being married, look, he said 2004, you know. It's like this paper kind of old, so you probably can't see it that good. Because, you know, when you been married all that time, like 19, 20 years, according to a marriage license, probably longer than that because, you know, way before I got the marriage license, I had told a girl that, you know, because, you know, she was trying to have sex with me. And then I was like, nah. When she was trying, because I was at 2715 Avenue E. Hensley. She was trying to have sex with me. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. I told her no. I can't have sex. And they were like, why you told her no? Because I was like, I have to be married. I was like, you gonna get married with me, to me, or whatever, you know, however it go. And then she was like, yeah, she was gonna get married to me and stuff like that or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I can't just be having sex with different people and stuff like that. I don't want to be like them dudes that they said was in that family. Because, you know, when they say that dude had sex with Tawana Renee Williams and she had a child born in 1996, they said he never got a marriage license for her. That dude, Aldrin Johnson, never got a marriage license for Tawana Renee Williams, even when she turned 18. He still didn't get a marriage license for her. I don't know why. I don't know why them grown men did not wait until the girl was 18 and got a marriage license. That's what's crazy. I mean, look at it. He said, look. He said, you know, April 30th of 1986. And then it say, you know, it say 2004. And the 30th day. So it was like, as soon as the girl turned 18, I mean, all you had to do was wait until a person turned 18. That's what they said. They said, if you is at least 18 years old, and the girl or the person or the guy, however it is, I don't know, you know, they say, you know, with the husband and the wife, a girl and a boy and stuff like that, you know, with the husband being, you know, a boy, a man, a male, or whatever you call it, you know, and with the wife being a girl, you know, a female, a lady, because they be like, it's about your birth certificate. When you get married, you have to use the government documents, because they were like, if you was in a courtroom, you would have to use the words that the papers say. So when the paper said that when you was born as a female. And then when the paper said when you was born as a male. So they were like, when you get married, it'll be like the person in birth certificate when you got married, like it say me as a husband, I was born a male, you know, MALE. And they say that's a boy or a man or a husband or, you know, whatever they call it, a dude, a guy, or, you know, I don't know, different stuff. So they was like, and when a girl, you know, her birth certificate say female, it was like, that's the word that you have to use, because they was like, that's what it say on the birth certificate, because they was like, yeah, birth certificate say male or birth certificate say female, you know, stuff like that. So it was like, some people don't seem to like the word male, and some people don't seem to like the word female. And it was like, you can get in trouble if you don't tell the truth about that stuff, because if you went in a courtroom and said that, and they asked you what your birth certificate say you was born as, if you a girl, you would have to say your birth certificate say you was born as a female. And if you a boy, you would have to say, yeah, your birth certificate say you was born as a male, you know. Now, you might feel all different types of ways about it and stuff like that, but your birth certificate say what it say. It say you was born, you know, the way that you was born, you know, and stuff like that. And it's crazy because I was like, why would people that, you know, if you old enough to get married when you're 18, they was like, you know, like, why they didn't get married to them people when they was 18, you know? Or why they didn't wait until they was old enough to get married and stuff like that. And they was like, you know, them people believe in a different God and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't really know. But they was like, it don't matter what God you believe in. You're not supposed to be having sex with children when you 18 years or old enough to get married and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be having sex with underage children, or you ain't supposed to be having sex with children at all. They said, okay, if you 18 and a girl 16 years old, or something like that, the age of consent or whatever, They was like, yeah, they said it's something about 2 years. They said if you 18, the other person have to be like 16 or something like that. And so they was like, that's why she said that, the girl told me I would have to wait until she's 17. And I think that's why, because she was like, they wanted me to look like a bad person. They were like, if she told me to wait until she was 17, then I would be 19, because my birthday is March 4th, 1984. So if she told me to wait until she was 17, that would mean that when she was 17, I would be 19, And when I would be 19 and she would be 17, that means she would be old enough the age of consent, and then they couldn't accuse me of abusing her. Because, on August 9th, 2015, they said a lady named Nancy Melchor tried to accuse me of abusing my own wife. And I don't know how they know about it, but she was like, people that's not part of your marriage, people that wasn't even there when you got married, wanted to have so much to say about your marriage, people that never came to your court dates, people that never said anything good to you, people that never had anything good to say about me or my wife, because they never told me anything good about me or my wife, because they was like, in order to say something good about my wife, you would have to be saying my wife has a good husband, me being a good husband. Because they said, if you saying something bad about me, the husband of my wife, then you saying something bad about my wife, because since the marriage is the husband and the wife, when you talking about me as the husband, you talking about my wife. When you calling me ugly, you saying that my wife got an ugly husband, so you talking about my wife. When you calling me a criminal, you saying bad stuff about the husband of my wife, so you talking about my wife. You don't love my wife if you saying bad stuff about me, because when you saying bad stuff about me, you trying to make my wife feel bad about me being her husband. And it was like, that means you wrong when you do that and stuff like that. Because if the stuff you saying is not true, then it don't really make sense. And they were like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So, they know somebody been trying to make me look bad, and they've been trying to make my wife look bad. And they said they think it's them people that had sex with those Antoine and Yolanda and them people. Because since they don't have anything to show for them, being anything else but child molesters and grown people that had sex with children. And they were like, they know that. They were like, you at this hotel, these people been yelling at you, being mean to you. The only reason you must be here is because them other people were so mean to you. You wouldn't just want to be here and stuff like that or whatever. And they was like, it's evidence, because they was like, yeah, why would you want to be somewhere where grown people was having sex with children? It don't matter if they said it was Michael Jackson. It don't matter if they said it was R. Kelly. It don't matter if they said he was rich or he was famous. You're not supposed to be having sex with children, stuff like that. If you 18, you old enough to get married. And if you wanted to have sex with somebody, why you didn't get a marriage license when they was 18 years old, stuff like that. Because they was saying, stuff like that. They was like, if a girl was young and she was 18 years old and you claimed you love her, why you didn't get a marriage license for her and get married to her when she was 18 and show your marriage license and be like, look, it's about love and marriage. It say a girl was 18 years old. It say I was 20 years old. Age appropriate, the 2 years apart, stuff like that. And that when I got my marriage license, was 20 years old and the girl was 18 years old. And the only person that I ever had sex with was a person that was saying that their name was April. A person that was saying that they was the same person from the birth. Like, I don't even know what them other folks did. So they was like, well, they said it was R. Kelly, whether they said it was Michael Jackson, whether they said it was anybody. They was like, man, something's saying wrong when you grown and you want to sleep in the bed or you want to have sex with underage children, and they like, evidence can only be proven after the fact. When you actually wanted to sleep in the bed with other people's children, whether your name was Jackson or not, and you were sleeping in the bed with little boys, and you chose to do that, something saying weird about that. Who in the world be watching the movie Home Alone and then see a little boy with some red lips and be like, you got to get him in your bed. You just got to sleep over with him. You just got to... What kind of crazy mess is that? They said some Jackson dude was like, he was watching the movie Home Alone. It was a little boy in the movie Home Alone. Next thing you know, he wanted to get that little boy home alone in the bed with him. And they said the little boy had some red lips. And, you know, that's crazy. Because I was like, he must have liked them red lips, that Jackson dude. Because they said when he died, you know, he had the same red lips. You know, they said he was born a brown person. And they said he died, you know, a white person with red lips. They were like, wait a minute. What's his name? Michael or something? That's what they said. They said he was born a brown boy. But when he died, he was a white woman with red lips. And they're like, he must have been watching Home Alone a little too much. He must have wanted to be like what did he do with that little boy? Who in the world watch a movie on TV and be like, you got to get that little boy at home with you? And then you got to have the same red lips. I don't care what they said about him or this or that. Something don't seem right about that. I mean, just wanting to sleep. And then you don't even know him. A stranger who watches the TV and then want the little children on TV to come to their house. And they seem like craziness, you know. I'm not specifically talking about anybody, but, you know, it was names mentioned such as Jackson. It was names mentioned such as Michael. And it was names mentioned such as, they said a person built the whole theme park in a whole child, you know, park of some carnival at their house to trap children because some grown man wanted to sleep with little boys and stuff like that. And they said since then, some of them little boys said he did more than sleep with them, Brandon. They said he did stuff to them, sex stuff. And like they did say that he did sex stuff. They said that dude that he did sex stuff to them. And I was like, man, the people did sex stuff to me too. I was like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to be part of this stuff. And, you know, that's why I never wanted to be part of those record deals and contracts and music and movies and stuff like that. Because, you know, there was like some dude named Robert or something like that. I don't know. You know, they was talking about whether it was R. Kelly or all of that and stuff like that. You know, that's what them people was doing. It was the same way in that house that I growed up in. They would be listening to that R. Kelly music, talking about feeling on somebody's booty. You know, they was talking about every day after school and Terry and feeling on your booty. Them the names that they would use. And they was talking about some, you know, peeing. They were talking about, you know, peeing on people. They said, like, I don't know what this stuff was. They were like, that dude had molested me. I don't know if they said he nutted in him or if they said he peed in him. You know, I'm the dude that they was talking about. So it was like, that's called sex abuse. I wasn't supposed to be getting nutted in by a dude. I wasn't supposed to be getting peed in by a dude, especially if I was just an elementary school student in middle school. And they were like, what kind of, you know, like, what kind of elementary school or middle school did you go to? They were like, you went to one of them Catholic schools before too, didn't you? I'm like, yup, in kindergarten and in the first grade, I went to Catholic school. And some of the people said, man, they was grooming you from the start. They were like, did they molest you at Catholic school? And I was like, I'm not sure. It was like, did they ever pull your pants down and make you show your butt or your private, you know, they call it your thing in the front. Did they ever do that to you in Catholic school? Yes, they did. They called it giving me a whipping when I was like 5 years old. That was a child. It was like 5 years old in kindergarten. I ain't know. They're like, what was they giving you a whipping for? I don't know. I was so traumatized from, you know, being hit with a belt in front of a class. They pulled my pants down in front of the class. They had my thing showing in the front because, you know, that's what they would call it, you know, the part that you pee from, you know, the penis. So they had my thing showing and they pulled my pants down and then they was hitting me with a belt. They said they was giving me a whipping and then I think they turned me around and had my butt showing. Some of the children was laughing at me and then some of the children was like, this is wrong, man. He a child, he a baby. He in kindergarten or first grade, like 5, 6 years old. This dude grown. What kind of grown person get a thrill or some kind of sick thrill out of physically abusing a child and stuff? Because, you know, it's crazy because in 2015, they said that's called aggravated assault. If you hit somebody with a weapon, so they was like, wait a minute. If a girl is your wife and y'all both was grown and she 2 years younger than you, and they said hitting her is aggravated assault, wouldn't it be an even worse crime if a dude was grown, way older than you, and you was 5 years old, and they was hitting you with a belt? That's what they did to me. You know what I'm saying? They did that stuff to me. I'm the victim. You get what I'm saying? And they was like, well, what about August 9th, 2015? They said you did something to that girl or whatever. August 9th, 2015, a girl told me, you know, she said she was a girl. She said her name was April. She said she was my wife because they was like, yeah, because in order for the police report to say you did something to your wife, she identified herself as your wife. Exactly. And so you never got a divorce, right? Nope. Because she, after you got out of jail in 2017 and went to mental health court, she came to mental health court, a person came to mental health court saying that her name was April, saying that she was your wife in the year of 2017, 2018, and you graduated mental health court in 2019, and a person was saying that she your wife. So it was like, yup. So it was like, I guess my wife did not want a divorce. And they were like, why she didn't? Maybe she was telling the truth, whichever one she was, or whoever it was. They were like, how? These people seem to be obsessed over that name and stuff like that. Like, oh no, it's like these grown men that was trying to have sex. They was trying to force a child to be with them. And like what kind of stuff it is? It's like, I don't know. It's like, put it this way, for example. Both of them houses, they said grown men was having sex with children. I left that house I was at and then see that. That's why I was there. You know, I was there at that house when I went over there, you know, to meet a girl that they said her name was April, because they said at the house that I was at, what they said was that Yolanda Johnson house, they said that them grown men was having sex with children. And then, like, that dude, Antonio Johnson, he was the same way. They said it was a cousin that they said they had named Tay-Tay. He was doing sex stuff with her, and they said they was just playing. They tried to pair it up in a couple. They said Tay-Tay and Coco. And they said one of them name was Angela. I think her name was Tay-Tay. And they said one of them name was Ashley, and they called her Coco. And they said Tay-Tay and Coco. Tay-Tay wasn't the youngest girl. She was like, she had a little sister named Coco. When they came over to the house, like after they was doing their sex stuff, they tried to get me to do stuff with them. It's like, that's what I mean. They were like, she molested me or whatever. Because they were like, she was already sexually active. I didn't even know what none of that stuff was. You get what I'm saying? I had already been abused by them people that were saying that they was wee and boo and stuff like that. You know? So when I was there, you know, and then, you know, I had already been physically abused by that dude that said his name was Willie Johnson. I'm an elementary school student back then. And then, you know, I was going to the mental health doctor at Western Mental Health Center. This ain't nothing that I made up way after the fact as an excuse. I was going to the mental health doctor in elementary school. They was giving me pills called crazy pills. I've been abused all this time. You know, crazy. Then accusing me of being the abuser. That's wrong. Tell the truth about my life. That's what they said. They said that's what the prosecutor did wrong. She forgot to tell. And the main thing she didn't tell is that, didn't that girl ask you to do that stuff to her on August 9th, 2015? You know, didn't she say you would have to fight her in order to leave out the hotel room? And with God as your witness, didn't you tell her you don't want to? You didn't want to do it? You know, in those magic words, when you say you didn't want to, you know, you didn't want 2 baby mamas. You didn't want 2 girlfriends. You didn't want 2 wives. You know, stuff like that. And then when you said, yeah, you didn't want to fight, you know, and stuff like that. And she was like, no. She said, you got to do it, you know. And then you tried to stop, and she said, no, keep going. You know, she would have to say all of that stuff. So they was like, that lady that tried to, you know, what she did when she got you locked up in 2015, they said that lady that called herself the prosecutor, they said she did wrong. She was supposed to tell the truth. That, yeah, ever since I was 5 years old, you know, I was abused and stuff like that. And it's evidence that, yeah, he tried to run away from the state of Alabama because they was abusing him. Them people that was there. You know. And for some reason, the lady that says she's the mom of him and those other family members, whether it was the Johnson family or what, they seem like the type of people that they loved child molesters and child abusers and grown men that had sex with children, you know. And the dudes was grown when they was having sex with children that wasn't even the age of consent. So they like, this is evidence of me being a voice that grown men was having sex with children. I left that situation. They was like, you know, I never had full-blown sex with anybody. You know, the only person that I ever had sex with is the person that said their name was April and all that. And they were like, what happened? But they said it was your other place. Look, they said this right here. This is a such thing called temptation, right? They say temptation is when other people try to get you to have sex and try to say you cheated on your wife or try to seduce you and stuff like that. They said you can't use that as an excuse. You either had sex with them people or you didn't. They said, I always told people I can't do it. What about my wife? I can't do it. I believe in being married. I can't do it. What about my wife? It was like, so it was like, you might have been temptation, this and that, and all of this stuff like that. Because they were like, yeah, if you 39 years old, you would have another baby mama or somebody else by now. They were like, because most of the other people do. These dudes just like 19, 20 years old and already got 2 and 3 baby mamas. They know you ain't do none of that because they was like, a girl to be ready to get child support and all of that kind of stuff. A girl wouldn't be saying that you not her baby daddy if she knows you was. They was like, yeah, they were like, they know that I ain't have sex with nobody else or whatever. Shoot, even when the girl that said her name, I was like, no, I can't really do it. I was in the backyard on Avenue E at 29. Nah, it was at 2715 because that's where they stayed at then, 2715 Avenue E Easton. So they were like, why you left from there? They said that she had a brother named Jeremy Williams. I wasn't really worried about him. They said that he killed and murdered a dude named Lawrence Jones in the year of 2001. Or sometime between then and 2003, he went to jail and got a life sentence. They tried to get mad at me because he killed somebody. I'm not a witness to any murder that Jeremy Williams did. I didn't testify in the courtroom at the trial of his murder. They said them people crazy. They went and did stuff and got mad at me for the stuff that they did. They said they made problems for themselves and got mad at me for the problems that they made. It's just like when a lady get pregnant. It's just like if a lady had sex and then she got pregnant and said they had to cut her stomach open to get the baby out, it's her fault. I didn't ask her to have sex and get pregnant. So whether you said she had a cesarean section or had to get surgery, I was never in, it's not my fault. And if something is wrong with like their vagina and stuff, they was like, yeah, I never went anywhere near her vagina. Because if I'm the type of baby that they cut out of the stomach because it was a cesarean section, that means I never even passed through her womb and stuff like that. So any vagina problem, she couldn't blame me for nothing being wrong with her vagina. Because I was never down there. They said I came straight from the stomach. Cesarean section. Some people say them be the most special children or whatever. So, I don't know. They said like, I don't know if it was like mental health or being disabled because, they were saying something is special about a child born from a cesarean. So I don't know if it's like a disability or some kind of ability or something like that or whatever. But, I get Social Security check on first of the month. And sometimes, what they say, because, sometimes one time a person stole the money when I was in jail. They said it was in the month of it was in the year of 2015, because they said I went to jail on August 9th, 2015, and then in September or October that somebody else had, they was like, who cashed that boy's Social Security check while he was in jail? October of 2015. And who cashed that boy's Social Security check while he was in jail? Was it September of 2015? Was it October of 2015? Because if he was in jail since August, somebody cashed the check in September of 2015 or October of 2015, and it wasn't me. But in order for them to cash the check, they said they was me because they had to sign his name on there. And it was like, somebody signed some kind of contract and it wasn't me, and they didn't got themselves in some kind of trouble because they owe people stuff and they know it's not me. And they was like, just because you use the Brendan name and stuff like that, he don't really owe them people. Whoever did that stuff, they don't know what they owe. And they were like, it might have even been some bad stuff, like somebody might have sold to the devil or some kind of soul contract or some kind of stuff. Because they was like, people was trying to use my name for stuff. And they was like, they know it wasn't me because I was in jail August 9th, 2015, the whole year of 2015 after that, the whole year of 2016. And I ain't get out to 2016. They was like, they know for a fact somebody did something. Somebody tried to get me in trouble for what they did. I don't owe it to them to get in trouble for what they did. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't have did what they did. You can't blame me for what you did. So they were like, Yeah, it makes sense for you to leave the house that you was in. Because, that what the Bible told me. They was like, a person leave their father and mother and get with their wife. And they were like, so that's why you wanted to get married first chance you get. And as soon as a girl turned 18, you want to get, because you was like, grown people was having sex with children, middle school children. Stuff like that. They was having sex with a child. So it was like, yeah, and then you left, and then where you moved to? I moved from Birmingham to an apartment. They said it was at 402 May Circle in Warrior, Alabama. And so there's cities away from Birmingham, right? So there's evidence that you was trying to get out that neighborhood and away from them people and them bad spirits of grown people having sex with children. And they said, yup, it's evidence of that because the birth certificate of August 31st, 2004 would have the same address of Warrior, Alabama, 402 May Circle. And the birth certificate of July 18th would have the same address of 402 May Circle, Warrior, Alabama. Evidence that I tried to get the children and the family out of a bad neighborhood where people was grown, people having sex with children. And once again, they said, got to see it this way. Well, people was old enough to get married. They was 18 years old, and they was still having sex with underage children. Children that they didn't even get married to when the child became 18 years old. And I don't know. I don't know if some of them children actually got married to somebody and got a marriage license. I don't know if some of them children did not get married. I don't know if some of them are dead or alive or what happened to them and stuff like that. I really don't know what people been doing these days. But they was like, yeah, so it's evidence that I was doing stuff for the right reason. Yeah. And they was like, oh, what happened when you was grown? They was like, they tried to treat me that way. They tried to get me to have sex with a child. They was like, it's the same stuff. They was like, it was some children, when I moved out the neighborhood, they said they had like a teenage club and stuff and rap music and stuff like that. And they was like, hey, you be making beats and you be making music, you be making videos and stuff like that. Cause YouTube was a thing back then. And like, I had like this music and stuff. They were like, you should. They was having a party and stuff. And they was like, you should come. They had these flyers. They call it invitations, and they'll put them on the car. They told me to go down there. I get down there. These children bumping and grinding and dancing on each other. They call it touch dancing. I went there. I don't know. I went there a couple of times. Like, I don't really know. They said somebody had did some witchcraft. I never got nobody's phone number. I never went on a date with none of them people. I never kissed any of them people, or, my skin never even touched their skin, whatever touch dancing they was doing. And I never even danced with anybody. Somebody tried to dance on me. Somebody was trying to dance with me, or however you said one time. And, I kind of felt weird about it. I was like, yeah, this don't really feel right. I'm not really having sex with you, and I'm not really, my skin not really touching your skin and stuff, but this seemed wrong, like this seemed kind of weird or something like that. But, I didn't want to make them feel bad and stuff like that because, it was something that they did. I didn't like grab a girl and put her on me. Somebody had just, had jumped up and started dancing, and you know how they be doing like that, pushing their butt out and stuff. That little, I don't know what it's called. I don't even know what that move called, but, that dance where they be sticking their butt out or whatever, and then, it's like they be mashing it back on you or something like that. And I'm like, this what y'all call dancing? And so, that didn't happen no more because I made sure that didn't happen no more. That was just something that they did one time. It's not my fault that they did it then because, they was like, you should take your music around. And they were like, who told you to do that? Well, them people had made some flyers or whatever. I don't think them children made that stuff, but yeah, they told me to go there. And they were like, see, that's why that R. Kelly stuff wrong. Even if a girl tried to dance with you and tried to get you to do stuff or whatever, you were still supposed to say, I'm grown and you a child and I can't have sex with you. Matter of fact, I can't even kiss you. Matter of fact, I can't even go on a date with you. Matter of fact, I don't even want my skin touching your skin like that because that seemed like even that'll be too much, stuff like that. So, I ain't never really do none of this stuff like that. And they were like, somebody wanted you to look like you cheated on your wife or like you did something wrong. And then they got mad at me because they were like, all these years later, you never did none of this stuff. You said no to all of this stuff. And you said, man, I'm not trying to be in no record contract and none of this stuff. This is a marriage license, not a contract. I'm not one of them contract people. I don't even know what that stuff is. I just know I'm not part of it. So they were like, when you think about it, they were like, when you was there, they was like, So if they said that, like, but that little girl kept on asking to have sex with him, that little girl kept on trying to seduce him, that little girl kept being fast and kept being the flirt, she was being grown. She know that that boy was grown and kept throwing herself at him anyway. They said, nope, it's the grown man fault. The girl might be wrong for throwing herself at him, and she'll get in trouble for what she did, but the grown man, he gonna always be a dude that didn't say, I'm grown and you a child. They said, them dudes that molested me, they gonna always be the dudes that molested me. I could never be friends or family with them after that, because whether they say his name Antoine, Antonio, Aldrin, they gonna always be the people that abused and molested me. And every time I think about them, I feel bad. No matter where they move to or where they go, they gonna always be the dudes that abused me and they molested me and they sexually abused me. Just because it was a long time ago, they gonna always be them people. They said, when you married and somebody is your wife and somebody is your husband, they was like, that's different. She can say, oh, but that's her husband. I can say, oh, but that's my wife. When they said, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother be like, no, my wife is my wife. And me being her husband is me being her husband. You know, two people, you know, stuff like that. Because they'll be talking about no sex without being married and stuff like that. And it was like, so they must believe in the same God I believe in. If you believe in no sex without being married, then you must believe in a God that believes in being married. So if you believe in a God that believes in being married, you must believe in a God that is married. Because in order for a God to tell you no sex without being married, well, in order for God to be practicing what God preached, God must be married himself as a husband. And if God is married himself as a husband, God must be married herself as a wife. Because in order for a husband to be a husband has to have a wife. And in order for a wife to, you know, be a wife has to have a husband, you know. And in order for, you know, a God to say that no sex without being married, in order for a God to believe in being married, no matter how you call it, whether you say it's a husband or a wife, then a God must have to have a spouse. Because in order to be married, somebody got to be the husband and somebody got to be the wife. And they was like, yeah, don't tell me to do something you wouldn't do. So they was like, you know, the preachers at church never told us about God's spouse. Because they was like, if God told us no sex without being married, if that's what you saying, that God told us no sex without being married, then who is the wife of God? You know, is what they would say. And they'll be like, the answer to that question is exactly what you just said. The wife of God is the wife of God. The husband of God is the husband of God. The spouse of God is the spouse of God. Because in order for a God to say they believe in being married, God would have to be married in order to not be a hypocrite. Because a God would have to be like, God has a spouse. Because how can God tell you to be married unless it's a such thing as being married? And they was like, oh, so I believe in the God of being married. So they was like, oh, so you believe in a God that believes in being married. And if your God believes in being married, then your God must be married. And so your God must be married because your God must be a husband and your God must be a wife and your God must be married. And, you know, that's where you get the idea of being married from and stuff like that. So they were like, you know, in the year of 2006, in October 6th, when they started that court case with them children in need of supervision, they like, so if a person been saying their name is April at every one of them court dates, and a person been saying that she was my wife at every one of them court dates, when it was a child born August 31st, 2004, when it was a child born July 18th, 2006, when it was a child born October 6th, 2008, and she was saying she the same April with the marriage license and claiming as my wife and stuff like that. And then when it was a court date, you know, all of them years, because they was like, it was a lot of years, because it was like 2006, you know, is when it started. And when the child was born, October 6, 2008. They was like, that was years later. And then it was a lot of court dates after that. They was like, that dude that said his name was Willie Jensen, he never came to any of them court dates. He never came to any of them court dates when I was a child. When they said I was 14 and the lady said I was harassing her and telling her business, that dude that said Willie Jensen, he didn't come. I was locked up when I was 14 and 15 because, you know, I was there on my birthday. He didn't say, that's my child. That's my child. Don't lock him up. They abused him. You know, when I was 16 years old, and then I was in a group home, because, you know, she did the same thing, talking about a probation violation, he getting on my nerves. That dude, they said he was Willie Jensen, he didn't come to the court and say, don't lock him up, that's my child. They're like, how you gonna claim to be somebody's granddaddy if you were never even a dad? You can't just say, oh, you want to claim you somebody's granddaddy, and they were like, how? You was never a dad to him? And if they say they matured, then they were like, you can't be their granddaddy because you would have had to have been a dad first. They're like, it's crazy. You know, stuff like that. And they said when they locked you up when you was like 17, they were like, who was the victim when you was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? It wasn't no victim. It was just them saying I'm getting on their nerves. It was just her saying she don't like me. She even said she hate me. You know, that lady that said her name was Yolanda Johnson. That lady that said her name was Nate. That lady that said her name was Big Mama. All that. So they're like, what they did? They say they got me in a car accident or some kind of stuff when I was 13 years old. You know, they was trying to get some money, and they said it happened when I was 12. As soon as they got the check money, well, by the time I was 14, they was trying to kick me out the house and get me locked up, talk about some ward of the state stuff, and they just was spending the money in the Social Security check, and it was all a scam. And they were like, they know that stuff. They were like, I was abused the whole time. They used me for money and stuff like that. So they were like, you know, it's almost April 30th again, and that time around, it's almost like 19, 20 years later, probably longer